What's going on YouTube? Q back here again with another video for you. Today's video, I'm about to show you all why I prefer my Acura Integra over my BMW M2 competition. So this Acura has been my daily driver for the last 8-9 months. It's supposed to be so. Update coming soon, so going through limbo with the online dealership, so this car should have been gone, and I put a deposit down on the Integra Type S. More to come on that later though. But this is why I prefer the Integra over the BMW. So I'll try to keep this as fair as possible because these are two completely different cars, two completely different purposes. But this car is more of a sporty car. This is a daily, everyday car, but it does have a sporty suspension. So I'm gonna get into the differences or why I prefer the Acura over the M2. And at the end, I'll put in why I prefer the BMW over the Acura as well, just to make things fair. So the first reason I prefer the Acura over the BMW is because of the suspension. Now, this car has an adaptive suspension. I can put it in comfort, normal, and sport mode, so I can get different variances of the same suspension. It's not as firm as the BMW or the Civic Si for that matter, but you can change it. So when I want to be comfortable, I can. When I want to have sporting intentions, I can do that as well. The BMW is just firm all the time, and since I drove the M2 CS, I feel like the M2 right here, this thing is extremely firm, borderline harsh to drive every day, because I've been driving that car every day for like the last 2-3 weeks, and riding around through all this construction and potholes, you feel every imperfection on these bumpy roads, and it kind of gets annoying. So I've been longing to get back into the Integra, so I just said forget it. I drove it today. This dealership, I'm selling this car, but I gotta drive it, man. It's just sitting there, and I do miss driving this car, so I had to take it out today for a little spin. But the suspension in here is much better, and this is a great handling suspension. It doesn't handle as well as the M2, but it is a good suspension as well. The M2 is just too harsh for the daily driving duties, but it's amazing on the track. But every day it gets a little bit too firm. So the second reason I prefer the Integra over the M2 is because of these seats. Not just the looks at it, because these seats look way better than what's in the M2, but the seating position here, you sit much lower in the Integra than you do in the M2, which is shocking because this is a sports car. I sit really high in the lower setting. I feel like I should be able to go down a little bit lower, but I can't. So every time after I get finished driving the M2, come back to the Integra, when I sit in the car, it's the long fall down because I'm so used to the higher seating position in the M2. So the first time I actually did it, I kind of hurt my back a little bit. You know, man, but I'm still young. I do young things. But it's a long way down in the Integra as opposed to the M2. So this is the M2's lowest setting. Oh damn, I can bump my head coming in here. Never did that before. Never sat like this. But this is as low as it goes, which is, it could stand to go another inch or two down if I'm being honest. Sitting in between these two cars back to back, I understand what they say when it feels like you're sitting on top of a car and when you're sitting in the car. So the Integra feels like you're definitely sitting in it, and that's Camaro-esque. Going from the Camaro to the Integra, it was similar, but going from the Camaro to the Hellcat sat tall like a truck, like the Blazer. So this M2 sits high, the seating position sits high like the Blazer. I feel like it's like SUV seating positions in here. Not preferred, but it is what it is. The third reason I prefer the Integra over the M2 competition, this slop box right here. This shifter is garbage, man. Like, it is. Y'all see me in a bunch of videos trying to do that 1 to 2 and it just grinds or it's not going smoothly. The shifter is pretty vague, and honestly, of all the 27 cars that I have owned up to this point, this is in the bottom 3, and that is with a 2008 and 2010 Ford Focus, a Fusion. The other car that I put down there with it, the Hellcat stick shift, is better, and I feel like they barely did anything to like make a stick shift because it's hard to get in the gear, but it's still better than this. This is kind of like not assuring that you're going to the right gear, and it feels like it's way too rubbery, man. This is the ultimate driving machine. It drives phenomenally and wonderfully, but that shifter is a weak link. Now the shifter in the Integra, this thing is marvelous, man. It is no second guessing. This thing is mechanical. I feel like I'm changing a bolt action rifle, man. This thing is never second guessing. this is one of the best shifters I have had. This and the Camaros, they have the best shifters of all the cars that I've had on. What I prefer about the BMW over the Integra, this engine. This is one of the greatest engines, if not the best engine that I have on, as far as efficiency, power, smooth. It does everything extremely well. And like on the highway, this is getting about 30 miles to a gallon, which is about what I average on this in day-to-day driving. I can get very high MPGs in here, but if I'm cruising at about 80, this is getting 28. If I'm cruising 80 in here, I'm getting like 33 or maybe 35 if it's going downhill a little bit. But this engine is much better, and it has way more power. This is 406 horsepower versus 200 horsepower. So for the efficiency and power, BMW all day. I mentioned earlier that these seats are kind of plain looking, and the Integra seats look better, but the actual feel of the BMW seats, like I thought the Integra was good until you sit up in these. The leather in here is much softer. It's a much more comfortable seat than what's in the Integra. Although the looks are plainish, but these, I'd rather sit in these seats all day. Even though the position is not as good, these are way more comfy seats. And as far as seats go, I'll just go ahead and say, like, the whole interior, the build quality, everything in here feels good. That's like, y'all know how the Germans do, like high quality everything, button presses, everything. This iDrive in here, that thing is immaculate. The whole interior, if I'm honest, like we even got the, I don't think that's out, like micro suede, whatever that is over there, got the dry carbon. And when I open my doors, I tend to kick that thing open because I'm some kind of guy I am, get like me. But like this stuff will wipe off. On the Integra, that would scratch. So my leg in the Integra hurts when I'm driving long distance. It's like cheap plastic around here. BMW, this is a soft pad right here. So they thought about that. So it's just a nicer place to be. And the last thing that I like about the BMW more than the Acura is iDrive. Like the whole infotainment system. Even though this screen is like laughable and tiny and only like half of it illuminates, because the other side is like, it's like a dual screen action, so what you actually see on here is pretty tiny. So yeah, this is all you get. The Integra is like from here to, like, it's a much larger screen, but and then you only, yeah, like the real estate is terrible. But as far as speed, like you saw how fast that booted up, and this iDrive right here, like I used to like, it's a little learning curve, but now like if I want to go to my navigation while I'm driving, I just press this button, it goes to the navigation, and that goes for like Apple Maps and Google Maps. If I want to go back to the music, this button, and it switches right over to the music. So it's really good. If I want to make a phone call, I press calm, it's right there. Everything is so fast, no bugs at all. Run into a lot of glitches in the Integra, but the BMW has been seamless, and this is an older infotainment system too, which is mind-boggling. So that's going to wrap up my preferences between the two. Which one do I like driving more? Depends on what I'm doing. Every day, hands down, the Integra. If I want to do some sporty things, drifting, burnouts, and things of that nature, the BMW is the only choice for that, because the Integra ain't doing any of that at all. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, browse the channel. Check out the short that I posted, because I posted an Integra Type S. Waited till the end of the video to say that. I put a deposit down on one, so that should be coming to the channel soon. But things got to move around because I can't handle 3 or 4 cars if I count the Blazer. So something's got to go. I already said the Integra's for sale, so I got to work on getting that done because I'm in the middle of something right now with that deal. But stay tuned, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.